In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made this Zwift Pain Cave sign for my gym. Let's do it.
I designed this project in Illustrator and then I exported it out as an SVG to import into the easel software. Once in easel, I set my material type to MDF and then I set the dimensions for my workpiece. The next step is to import the SVG and then I'm going to make some changes to each vector. I select each vector and I resize the shape to match the dimensions I want for this piece. I switch the cut path to cut on the vector and I remove the use of tabs, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. Alright, now for the fun stuff. I'm using a 1/8 inch fishtail down cut bit for this cut. The material for this cutout will be 1/2 inch MDF. I love using MDF for these signs as it cuts out really crisp. I'm ripping it down here to 20 inches on my table saw. I jump over to my miter saw to make the cross cuts for my final dimensions of 20 by 17. I'm not too concerned with the measurements here because I know my design will fit in just fine. Since I'm not using tabs on this cutout, I'm securing it to a scrap wasteboard with double-sided tape. I line up the tape where I know the lettering will be. This will ensure that the cutout remains stable and doesn't get kicked up by the router. I'm using my Inventables X carve for this cutout. I recently got this CNC and I absolutely love it. It really helps speed up projects like this. I wrap up the setup for this piece and we're ready to cut. I'm gluing up a 1/4 inch red oak panel to a Baltic birch panel. I didn't have any 1/2 inch red oak, so this will do just fine to give me that finish I'm looking for. And of course, I had to use every weight I have because enough is never really enough. Back at the CNC, I'm ready to pull this piece off. While I was cleaning up the dust, I actually sucked up the top piece of the eye. Rookie mistake. Luckily, it looked good without it, so I don't have to dig through a pile of dust to find it. To pop the letters off, I use a flathead screwdriver. The double-sided tape is strong enough to secure the board, but surprisingly easy to remove. I'll have a link down in the description to the tape that I use. This MDF only requires a little bit of cleanup and it's ready for paint. I used a matte finish acrylic paint for this Z. I'm not a huge fan of this paint, but it was the only orange that I had in the shop. I was able to use spray paint for the letters, then I applied several coats in between drying. I want the Z to be raised off the backboard, so I need to cut some pegs for it to sit on. Using a stop block on the table saw makes quick work of this. I have a battery-powered LED strip that I'll be adding behind the Z. I need to create a housing for this pack to sit in that allows for removal when the batteries need changed. I take some quick measurements and rip some plywood down to size. After fumbling with the glue up as I typically do, I was able to assemble the housing. I had some 3/4 inch red oak that I wanted to use as a frame for this piece. I'm not the best at making frames, but this method seems to work pretty well for me. I mark the ends of the piece on the frame and use a square to line up my cuts. I repeat this process on all 4 sides. I do a quick test fit and then we're ready for more sanding. I used painter's tape to tape off any section of the frame that would be glued up as I didn't want my finish affecting the bond. Time to throw on some clamps for the glue up. The band clamp really comes in handy to hold all of this together. To raise the Z off of the backboard, I'm gluing on the pegs as well as the casing for the LED battery pack. A little wood glue and some CA glue works great for this. The placement of these pegs is important as they will be used to wrap the LED lights around. I use a hot glue gun to help hold a few things in place while I wrap the lights around the pegs. There is an adhesive backing on the lights, but it doesn't make much contact, so the hot glue really helps. Using a scrap board, I'm able to line up the lettering and ensure placement is level. Again, I use some wood glue and CA glue to attach the letters. The CA glue has a pretty instant bond, so you have to make sure you get placement right. I use a similar technique to align the Z. And there you have it, this project's all wrapped up. Thanks for watching.